What is going on, everyone? So I wanted to share this tip with you guys that I've actually used a lot of times in my life, but I actually kind of got reminded of it today in Jiu Jitsu class. Well, those of you know, I'd like to share some of the advice I get on the mats in learning Brazilian Jiu Jitsu from a master black belt. So I want to share this one with you because I thought it was important and I felt it was important. And at the end of this short video, I'd like to do a giveaway for whoever is tuning in and watching because, hey, why not? So here's what I learned. We were learning how to escape a choke. And in this choke, someone has your collar and they're pulling on your collar and they're taking the slack out of the other collar. It's just a technique in the gi to choke somebody. You're pulling on one and you're taking the slack out with the other hand. And I got to tell you something I realized that I kind of didn't, I've done it before, but the master was teaching us today, or my professor was teaching us today about how to escape this particular choke. And one of the keys to it was instead of turning away from Paul, thank you for checking in. Let me know where you're tuning in from, city and state. I'd like to know where everyone's tuning in from. You kind of turn toward the person choking you. Now, someone's choking you from this way and they're over here. Your natural inclination is to pull away from them because they're here and you want to get away from them. But the reality is when they're choking you, coming this way, the reality is to loosen the choke, you kind of want to turn into them. And that's how you actually, when you turn away from them, the choke gets tighter. You turn into them, face them. You face them, and that's how the choke gets looser. So we went over this technique many times today. And like I said, it's very counterintuitive to actually turn toward the person who's trying to strangle you. In life, I've learned that there are many occasions when you're facing a problem. Most of the time, you're not facing it. You're actually turning to get away from it. You're turning to run away from it, hoping it'll go away, hoping it vanishes, or hoping that if you run from the other direction, it's going to go away. Turning your back to it, not paying attention to it. And the reality is that a lot of times in life, that is the absolute worst thing you can do because it's only going to make that problem worse. Just like with the choke. In the gi, during jiu-jitsu, you're getting strangled from this side and you're turning away from it and you're actually just choking yourself more. You're tightening the choke. You're making the problem worse. Whereas if you turn and face it head on, don't try to ignore it. Don't try to turn and run away from it. Face it head on and figure out how am I going to now attack this problem. And what he showed us was not only a technique to not turn away but turn toward it, but how when you turn toward your opponent and face them, how you can subsequently attack them and now put them on the defensive. It was absolutely, obviously the guy's a master, he's a black belt professor, he's been doing this for 30 years, but it was something so counterintuitive because most of the time when we are being attacked, the last thing we could think about is to turn into the attacker. Usually it's like survival mode, like, oh my God, this problem is choking me. You're in survival mode. Very few people flip the script and say, you know what? I'm going to turn toward this and then I'm going to start attacking them. So when you encounter this in life, next time you have a problem, you have an issue, something that is bothering you, something persistent, something that is just lingering, rather than turning away from it, which most likely is making the problem worse, making that choke tighter, turn toward it. And now when you turn toward it, face it, and don't just face it, because that'll release the pressure, but then attack the problem. Attack it. Attack it so that it's no longer a problem, that you become the problem for your problem, and that's how you solve it. That's how you eradicate it. Because a lot of these little things in life, they go after people who are weak, not paying attention, things like that. When you become the problem for your problem, when you attack your problem, you go after your problem, that's when things change. So don't be weak. Don't be afraid to turn and face it. Because a lot of times, that's the secret to getting out of the situation. And then, in that moment, that is when, because most of the time, when you're talking about an attack situation, the last thing someone attacking you, we're talking about jiu-jitsu or self-defense, the last thing the person attacking you is expecting is for you to begin attacking them. Right? So, go after the issues in your life. Don't turn your back. Face them. Relieve that pressure and then go after it. Take the problem out. Put the problem in your crosshairs. That is how the top 1% in this world that have the things that maybe you desire, that live the life you maybe desire, they don't turn away. They don't turn away. As tight as that choke might be, because if I'm turning away, but now look, I turn toward it, and now I could breathe. I give myself some breathing room. If I fight, you hear my voice changing. But if I turn toward it, I could breathe, and now I could focus. Sights on the problem. Solve, open, breathe, then attack. So just a life tip for those of you who are maybe going through something right now. This is a way to do it. We all want the great things in life. But a lot of us don't know the secrets, right? Maybe our parents didn't teach us, things like that. So that's why I'm sharing this with you. So maybe you want to share this with someone in your world that's going through something. Maybe you want to share this with your child that's going through something. You never know. Share it with your spouse maybe that's going through something. But use this advice, because I've learned this. I've learned this in life many years ago, and it was reiterated today, this morning, on the jiu-jitsu mats. And that's why I just wanted to share it with you, because it's something I use, and why not share it? So go take it and do with it what you may.